Hope you all are excited as myself to listen from the author himself about the book, The Hindutva Paradigm. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our chief guest, Dr. Ram Madhav ji. Thank you all. Please be seated. Welcome to Singapore, Dr. Ram Madhav ji. We're very glad to see you personally again. Before we invite our guest onto the stage, let's watch a short AV about Dr. Ram Madhav ji.
Dr. Ram Madhav ji is an Indian politician, author and thinker who is currently serving as a member of the governing body of India Foundation, a Delhi-based premier think tank which seeks to articulate Indian nationalistic perspective on issues of national and international importance. Shri Ram Madhav ji is also former National General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He has written several books in English and Telugu. He has travelled to over 30 countries and has addressed prestigious forums like the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, World Peace Conference at Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya of Thailand, Halifax Security Forum in Canada, Second Sochi Eurasian Integration Forum in Russia, and the BRICS Political Forum in China, amongst many others. In all humility, we are grateful to have Sri Ram Madhav ji amongst us, gracing us with his sound knowledge, best expressed in his book, The Hindutva Paradigm, Integral Humanism and the Quest for a Non-Western Worldview. Over 5 decades ago, Sri Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji articulated a new economic philosophy with human-centric development at its core and integral humanist thought. The Hindutva paradigm delves into the depths of this philosophy, guided fluidly by Sri Ram Madhav ji's analysis, insights and complementing knowledge. Ekatma Manav Darshan is the primary treatise of the book, but the book goes deeper, from ideologies and historical events that have guided our nation to movements that have shaped the current world. It leans into the future, delving into constitutional and civilizational frameworks that are cornerstones of a living, breathing Bharat. The Bharat of industry, of employment, of agriculture and of its people. We, as a young nation, only feebly grasped the opportunity to shape Deen Dayal ji's thoughts into a holistic philosophy and way of life. We now stand at a path with light shown by Sri Ram Madhav ji to revisit history and frame the future. We can choose to walk on the path, guided by his illuminating perspective and wisdom, and in the process leave behind the shadows of our past to a new future. Please join us on this journey.
Thank you. Sri Samskruthika Kalasaradhi Singapore welcomes you all to this wonderful event with Dr. Ram Madhav ji and learn about his latest book, The Hindutva Paradigm. This book has been launched globally across US, Europe and India in various such events, and we are extremely proud to have Dr. Ram Madhav ji personally today here for taking his time to share more details about the book. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Ram Madhav ji and founder president of Sri Samskruthika Kalasaradhi, Ratnakumar ji, onto the stage to unveil the book. Thank you, sirs. as everybody is eagerly waiting to hear from you about the book, may I request you to please share your. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you, Ratnakumar ji, Atul ji, all other friends for organizing this small get-together. I know that Singapore has relaxed its COVID restrictions very recently. What happens when those restrictions are lifted is a sudden rush of programs. So every weekend becomes very hectic for people. Even in Bharat, I noticed that when lockdowns were lifted, you used to find lot of rush on the streets, in the railway stations, at the airports, because everybody wants to do something during the weekends. So this is, I think, the second weekend after the restrictions were lifted. So naturally, probably many of you would be having many other engagements also for today. So thank you all for taking time out to come and participate in this book discussion program. You all know that Hindutva is now a very common thing in India, in Bharat. It is like a mainstream thing. In this sense, that not just those who belong to a particular political party or a particular organization, not just those who talk about Hinduism and all that nowadays, even those who used to oppose it, or who used to profess ideas like secularism, etc. Even those today very vigorously proclaim their Hindu identity in India. I'm sure those who follow Indian politics would have noticed that very prominent leaders of India's opposition today, they claim their Hinduness more pronouncedly, more publicly than before. Sri Rahul Gandhi ji has declared a few months ago that he was actually a better Hindu than even probably Swami Yogi Adityanath ji. This was a public statement made by him. Chief Minister of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, she claimed that, while some in BJP were the worshippers of Ram, she was the worshipper of Durga. So she is also a good Hindu. Somebody is remembering his or her Gotra. Somebody is displaying Janeu. This is the Indian politics today. And somebody is chanting, mantras in public rallies. The reason is Hinduism, Hindutva is today India's, it is the mainstream. It is the center stage of India's national life. That is the reason why everybody, irrespective of their politics, wants to claim to be Hindu. It's another matter that while claiming that they are Hindus, they try to say that you are not the real Hindu, we are true Hindus. As I said, Some people in Congress feel that probably the BJP people, RSS people are not the true Hindus. We are true Hindus. There are no true and false Hindus in that sense. One can use these things for one's political discourse, political narrative. So you sometimes hear this kind of distinction between Hinduism and Hindutva, trying to say that these are two different things. What some people like BJP, RSS talk about is Hindutva, what we talk about is Hinduism. Let me, at the very outset, because this book is about Hindutva, let me at the very outset tell you that these are not two separate things. Hindutva is the Indianized name of Hinduism, that's all. Hindutva is Hinduism in practice. That's all. They are not two separate things. Then you may ask, then why Hindutva? Why not Hinduism itself? The reason is, isms are all closed set of ideas. For example, take the case of communism. What is communism? There are a few ideas. Idea of class struggle, idea of proletarian dictatorship. That is communism. There are fixed ideas propounded by somebody like Karl Marx. He propounded a few set of ideas. Those who accepted those ideas became communists. Isms are closed set of ideas. Is Hinduism a closed set of ideas? Hindu is the most open, most liberal idea. There is nothing that is not acceptable to Hindu idea. That's why Hindu is not an ism, not even a religion. Isms are political philosophies, social philosophies, secularism, liberalism, conservatism. Hindu is not ism. Hindu is so vast. All isms have a place in it. Like, capitalism. Is it Hindu or not Hindu? If capitalism is not Hindu, Hinduism is different from capitalism, then Atulji cannot be a Hindu. He is into educational investment. Socialism. Is it Hindu or not Hindu? If it is not Hindu, then all the charities you do, all the good service you do for the poor becomes un-Hindu. Hindu includes all isms. All the different ideas that great people propounded in the entire world have all been known to this, our motherland, India, for millennia. That's the reason why you can't call Hindu as an ism. It's not closed. Those students of history or political science know that in Europe, the first literature to be created was Greek literature, Iliad of Homer, which talked about the 8th century life in Greece. The Trojan Wars and all that, the movies that you watch, Troy, etc., belong to that era, 8th century BC. That was when the first literature started happening. From there came Socrates, who started talking about political ideas. Then came Plato, who wrote that book Capital. Then came Aristotle. Then came the Romans. It's all history. So the whole thinking began in 8th century BC. You know what was happening in our country at that time? We already had thousands of years of thinking happening. We were already having revolts against thinking. You know, when was Buddha born? In 8th century BC. When Europe was producing first intellectual treatise, India was already contesting the existing intellectualism. The Vedas, the Vedic religion was already being challenged by people like Buddha. Charvaka, probably you would have heard about the name of one rishi in ancient India called Charvaka. This Charvaka had a very interesting philosophy. His philosophy, he said, Yavad jivet sukham jivet, runam krutva ghrutam pibet, bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kuta. Meaning, as long as you live happily. Yavad jivet sukham jivet. Sukh se jiyo. Jab tak jiyo, sukh se jiyo. Runam krutva ghrutam pibet. Take loan, take debt, but enjoy ghee. Karja lekar ghee piyo. The logic given was भस्मी भूतस्य देहस्य पुनरागमनम को था. एक बार मर गया तो वापस आना नहीं है. कौन पूछने वाला है? Who is going to ask you? Once you are dead, you are dead. It was rank materialism. Live happily, don't bother about tomorrow. But this we said in 9th century BC. What Karl Marx was saying in 1850s, we said 2000 years before him. So, the point is, you cannot, that's why categorize Hindutva as Hinduism. It's also one ism, one theory. No, it's not a theory. When we say Hindutva, what is that Hindutva? What is that creature? It is how a person should live according to the principles that are called Hindu. That is Hindutva. If Hinduism is not a philosophy, an ideology or a theory, like capitalism, communism, socialism, otherisms, or if it is not a religion like Islam or Christianity, what is it? You know, in 1995, India's Supreme Court gave a very interesting judgment. There was an election petition. In that election petition, the question was, one leader by name Manohar Joshi in Maharashtra, Maharashtra ke logon ko malum hoga, wo chief minister bhi rahe hai. In his election campaign, he said, Hindutva ka अच्छा रहना चाहिए, Hindutva ka vikas hona chahiye. So the Congress party filed a petition. He appealed to people in the name of religion. The matter went right up to the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court gave a very interesting judgment. They said, Hindutva is not a religion. Religion means there should be a God. There should be a way of worship. But Hindutva का एक गार्ड तो है ही नहीं. इनके पास तो 33 crores है. और ये रेलगाड़ी ऐसी है कि रोज नया पैसेंजर जुड़ते रहता है. You start creating new gods. If you don't find anybody to make him a god, you will make a film star a god. उसका भी एक टेम्पल बना दोगे. We have temples for film stars. We have temples for cricket players. We are very fond of creating new gods. तो किस गॉड का पूजा करोगे? So there is no one God. So Supreme Court said, so better not to call Hinduism a religion. So it's not a religion. It's a way of life. They simply said it's a way of life. It's a way where, you have multiple gods, you have multiple practices. You do this also, you don't do this also. Everything passes off under Hindutva, so it's just a way of life. So since then, you sometimes hear some people saying Hinduism is a way of life. In this book, I tried to say that it's not even just a way of life. For that matter, I consider it not a way of life. For that matter, which religion is not a way of life? Every religion is a way of life. If you are a Muslim, you have to keep your fast for 1 month during Ramadan. It's a way of life. You have to dress in a particular way. You have to conduct your day-to-day practices in a particular way. Same for a Christian, same for a Jain, same for a Buddhist, same for a Sikh. Every religion is a way of life. You can't say only we are a way of life, they are not. They are also a way of life. Then what is it then Hinduism is if it is not even a way of life? Because it doesn't stipulate that you have to do only like this. It doesn't say. It gives so much freedom that you can even reject God. That is one very interesting aspect of Hinduism. नास्तिक भी हिंदू है. In our dharma, God is in two forms. One is actually formless. Nirakar hai. He has no form. But then formless other religions may be hai. In Islam also, God is formless. In Christianity is also, God is formless. But there is a problem. God is formless there also. But it is always He. If you read this literature, it's always He. भाई formless है तो He कैसे हुआ? She क्यों नहीं हुआ? ठीक है, वो उनका प्रॉब्लम है, उसको छोड़ दीजिए. इसलिए हमारे यहाँ क्या है, एक लेवल में फॉर्मलेस है. फॉर्मलेस को ही या शी क्या कहना है, प्रॉब्लम है. तो इन द फॉर्म वी मेड हिम अर्धनारीश्वर. हमारे दोनों मिलकर है. वो नहीं इधर स्त्री ही पुल्ली है ना पुरुष पुल्ली है. इधर स्त्री भी और पुरुष भी नहीं, अर्धनारीश्वर है, मिलकर है. और इतना ही नहीं, आपको तो मूर्ति some people describe Hinduism as polytheism. आपने शब्द सुना होगा. पॉलीथीइज्म है ना, बहुदेवता आराधना है. बहुत देवता इसका पॉलीथीस्ट है. As against Semitic religions, European religions, which are monotheistic. उनके they have only one God. So we are one God religion, we are many God religion. We are not many God religions. We have many form religion. Many form है, many God नहीं है. God तो हम मानते हैं एक ही है. उसका अनेक forms है. He has many forms. Going beyond that, one day, Sant Namdev, a famous saint in Maharashtra, one day he went out for apna daily chores, and he came back to find his guru resting in the afternoon, sleeping in the afternoon, with both his legs rested on the linga, शिवलिंगा. दोनों पैर शिवलिंग के ऊपर रख के सो रहा था गुरुजी. Shocked at seeing Guru resting his feet on Shiva, Namdev wakes him up. Guruji, kya kar rahe? What are you doing? How can you put your feet on Bhagwan, on Lord Shiva? तो गुरु उठता, रे यार तुमने मेरा नींद खराब कर दिया. अच्छा ये बताओ भगवान कहाँ नहीं है, बताओ वहां रखूंगा पैर. A lesson for Namdev. There is no place where there is no Bhagwan. Bhagwan is everywhere. God is omnipresent. That is Hinduism. तो इसको religion कैसे कहे? Where there is one God. Here तो God is everywhere. मेरा एक मित्र है. He lives in US. He is an American, but he calls himself a practicing Hindu. उससे मैंने पूछा, I asked him, यार what attracted to Hinduism? उसने एक funny story बताया. उसको उसके गुरु ने बताया वो story. He had a Hindu guru in Vrindavan. So that guru said, that guru's story was very funny, but with a deep meaning. Story क्या था? एक दिन एक गुरु वेटिकन गया तो पोप साहब से मिलने गया. He went to meet the Pope, head of Catholic Christian religion. When he was talking to the Pope, he found a very interesting looking red color phone on Pope Saab's table. So the Swamiji asked him, Pope Saab, what is that phone? Pope said, this is my hotline to God. So whenever I have a problem, I will just dial the number. God will come online. I will speak to him. Swamiji ko laga ki, arey, how is it possible? In India, if you want to talk to God, you have to do a tapasya for 12 saal, 12 years. Even then, there is no guarantee. He will first send Menaka, Rambha to distract you. Then only he will come and appear. But here you just dial a number, he will come. So Pope said, okay, you are not believing me. Why don't you try? So Swamiji dialed the number. Suddenly God came onto the line. So for a Swami, God appeared. So what is there for Swamiji to ask? So Swamiji ने थोड़ा बात कर लिया, आप ठीक है, पार्वती जी ठीक है, सर्दी तो नहीं हुई, आजकल बर्फ बहुत हो रहा है हिमालयस में, नंदी जी ठीक है, इधर उधर की बात हो गई, 2-3 मिनट, he had a normal ordinary conversation for 3 minutes and put on the phone. Pope said, now you believe? Swamiji said, yeah, I can't imagine. So he said, it's a very great experience. So when he was about to leave, Pope Saab gave the bill. For 3 minutes, $3,000. Poor Swamiji didn't realize कि मामला इतना महंगा है. But ठीक है, having made the call and all that, so he paid up the money and came back. A few years have passed. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji invited Pope Saab to come to India. He came to India. He remembered, अरे मेरा पुराना दोस्त है वृंदावन में, तो मिलने गया स्वामी जी से. When Pope went to meet Swamiji, he found Lal Rang wali phone on Swamiji's table. So Pope Saab said, yeah, you also have it now. So Swamiji ne kaha, yeah, ever since Pramod Mahajan became our communication minister, everybody has a mobile phone in his pocket, and now I have this phone hotline to God. Pope Saab was relieved. Pope Saab ko to roz zarurat padti hai. So he said, can I talk? So Swamiji said, please go ahead. So Pope Saab dialed the number, God came on the line. So Pope Saab had lots of issues to discuss. यूक्रेन से लेकर सब जगह का धंधा है, तो बहुत बात हुई है, डिस्कशन हुआ है, 1 घंटा बात हुई. ही स्पोक फॉर 1 full hour. देन फोन रख दिया. तो स्वामी जी ने पूछा, हाउ वाज द कन्वर्सेशन? इट वाज गुड. पोप साहब सेड, सो गुड. लाइन वाज सो क्लियर. इट वाज मच बेटर देन माय फोन in Italy, in Vatican. It was so good. So Swamiji said, thank you, this is how India has also developed, progressed. So then Pope said, all right, thank you, it was wonderful experience. So tell me, what is the bill? Swamiji said, no, don't worry. In India, we don't take money from guests. You are my guest, I don't charge you anything, it's okay. Pope was a little, he said, how can it be? When you came, you spoke for 3 minutes, I charged you $3,000. Here I spoke for 60 minutes. So tell me, don't worry, I have big countries like America and all, don't worry about money, I will pay up whatever is the bill, tell me. After a lot of insistence, Swamiji said, all right, since you are insisting, just pay me 20 rupees. Pope Sahib thought, okay, this Swami fellow is trying to give me discount. He said, no discount, tell me actual bill. Swami said, Baba, that is the actual bill. Because in India, talking to God is a local call. We believe that God is everywhere. So you don't have to make that interstellar call. You don't have to make it. He is everywhere. It's just a local call. In India, local call charges for 3 minutes, 1 rupee. For 60 minutes, 20 rupees. That is our dharma. So this is where even God is a different concept. It's not one God sitting somewhere. It is only God. Whatever is there is God. Whatever is there is divinity. That is the reason why you cannot even call it a religion. So what is it? It is not even a way of life. It is a view of life. Hindutva एक जीवन दृष्टि है. you have to have a particular view of everything in this creation. What is that view? That view, Deen Dayal ji called integral humanist view hai. Not integral human. Sometimes people think integral ekatma manavata, integral humanism. Meaning the whole universe is one. The whole creation is one. Feeling that oneness, that is the basis of Hindutva. So when we are talking about Hindutva, we are not talking against anybody. Those who differentiate between Hindutva and Hinduism say, no, Hindutva is anti this, anti that, anti-Muslim, anti. No, we are not anti anybody. If we are anti anybody, it's not Hindutva. There can be people in the name of Hindutva trying to be anti somebody. Hate is not Hindutva. This value system I am talking about, Jivana Drishti, is only based on 4 principles. I will mention them and close, then we can have some interaction. What is that value system based on? What is that Hindutva's essence, nichod? Kya hai? 1. Satya. It's a world view. It's a view of life based on truth. Satya आधार है. Asatya, jhoot, has no place. Swami Vivekananda once very proudly said in London, he was giving a speech in London. In that speech he said very proudly that I say that what does not stand the test of science has no place to be called Hinduism. Something that doesn't stand the test of science, the most scientific way of life. There is no place for fundamentalism. There is no place for obscurantism. That's why it's one dharma which has always reformed. We never resisted reform. Which is out of time should go because we are scientific people. No, in India today, we have decided that the marriageable age of a girl should be 21 years. We have amended the law now. Earlier, it used to be 18 and even lower. There was no restriction. So the result is, as soon as the girl child is born, you will start looking for the boy. शुरू कर देते, पैदा होते तय करते मामा जी का बेटा से हो जाएगा. 14 years में शादी हो जाता है, 15 years में हो जाता है. जिनका हुआ है उनसे मेरे कोई झगड़ा नहीं है. You must be happily having your life. Be happy. But today, it may be okay in the last century, but today, there is a need for allowing more time for a girl to think about her career, her life, what kind of partner she wants. So we have made it 21 years. So one Swami had an interesting argument with me. He is a very strongly Orthodox Hindu Swami. He said, what is this nonsense that you are doing, your government is doing? Who are you to decide when a girl child should be married off? It's the issue of parents. Are we dharmacharyas? We decide. Who are you government to decide? I said, fair enough. You can decide. That's no issue. Then he said something else. आप तो 18 साल में तो वोट देने का अधिकार दे रहे हो. In India, every citizen, whether a boy or a girl, when he or she turns 18, he or she gets the right to vote. तो 18 साल में सरकार चुन सकते हैं, पति को चुन नहीं सकते. They can choose a government, but they cannot choose their husband. तो तर्क है. Logic works both ways. मैंने कहा देखिए भाई साहब, सही है 18 साल में सरकार चुनने का अधिकार दे रहे हैं, बट अकेले उनको नहीं दे रहे. 18 साल से लेकर जो मृत्यु तक जो लोग हैं सबको दे रहे हैं, उसमें वो भी है. हाँ, 18 years level of maturity will be different. He may even commit a big blunder, 18 years, in choosing a leader. But वो जो मिस्टेक होता है ना, वो 5 साल में ठीक कर सकते हैं. बट दूसरा मिस्टेक जो है ना अगर कर दिया तो जीवन भर है, फॉर लाइफ. So why I am saying this is we are open to that reform. We are one world, view of life which has always allowed reform. We have not said that 21st century में भी जो 2000 साल पहले जो बताया वही फॉलो करना है. We did never said it. We are one religion which is constantly changing, constantly evolving. Because Satya, truth, is only the benchmark for our dharma, for our worldview. Second is karuna, compassion. So, even if it is the most evil person you are facing, your approach should be through karuna. You will not hate anybody. Okay, there is an enemy, you have to fight. You have to take care of your people. You will have to engage in some kind of, battle. About that Ram Ravana Yuddha, Valmiki writes that when Ram actually faces Ravan for the first time in the battlefield, there is a sloka in which Ram, first of all, says namaskar to him, Ravan को, जिसको मारना था आगे जाकर, पहले नमस्कार करते, फिर कहते हैं कि भाई आप जैसे शिव भक्त कौन है? You are such a great scholar, you are such a great devotee, I bow to your scholarship. Other thing, I will kill you later. But first, I will not hold any hate against you. Because hate has no place. If today somebody is holding any hate against any community, that's wrong. That's not Hindutva. That's not our dharma. Karuna is our dharma. Then question arises, भाई करुणा तो तब तो फिर वो गलत लोगों का क्या करोगे? हमारे यहाँ शक्ति की उपासना की कल्पना है. बट शक्ति क्या होती है? शक्ति का एक अर्थ है कर्तुम न कर्तुम अन्यथा कर्तुम शक्यते, मतलब इट विल डू गुड, दैट इज शक्ति. इट विल अनडू बैड, बुराई को रोकती है, दैट इज शक्ति. बट द थर्ड इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट, इट विल डू अदरवाइज, बुराई को अच्छाई में परिवर्तित करता है, वो शक्ति है. सो व्हाट as a Hindu one has to develop is the capacity to change people to good, not to hate people. If you find something wrong with a given person, given religion, try and reform it, not hate it, not promote violence. किसी को धर्मयुद्ध करना ऐसा भी लगता है. हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में कुछ लोग हैं, ज्यादातर आपको सोशल मीडिया पे दिखेंगे, वो बहुत पराक्रमी लोग हैं, बट सारा ट्विटर पे है पराक्रम. नाम भी नहीं बताएंगे क्योंकि आइडेंटिफाई होने से फिर खतरा होगा. दूसरों को पूरा गाली देते रहेंगे, नाम छिपाएंगे, आइडेंटिटी छिपाएंगे, गाली देते रहेंगे, कभी कभी आपको भी देंगे. पराक्रम वो है जो बुराई को भी अच्छाई में चेंज कर सकता है. समथिंग दैट कैन ट्रांसफॉर्म ईविल इनटू गुड. आपको ईविल को नष्ट करना है ना, वो ट्विटर पे नहीं है, फेसबुक पे नहीं है. अरे महाभारत में कृष्ण ने क्या, भाई तुम कृष्ण हो क्या? पहले कृष्ण तो बनो, पहले अर्जुन तो बनो. तो इसलिए करुणा इज सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट क्वालिटी. थर्ड, सुचिता, अंतर्बाह्य सुचिता. Clean mind, clean thoughts, and clean body. That is third. Are we clean? Have we removed all the dirt from our minds, hearts, and our social fabric? Casteism, isn't it still alive? Constitutionally, India में नहीं है. Constitutionally, if you promote any casteism, you will be in jail. बट दिल से नहीं गया है. आई नो ऑफ IAS ऑफिसर्स they cannot get house on rent because they belong to a particular caste. घर नहीं मिलता है, दिल से गए नहीं ना, दिल में है. तो अंतर्बाह्य सुचिता उस बात का है कि दिल के अंदर बाहर दोनों जगह आप सुचिता का व्यवहार करते हो क्या? और दिखाने के लिए एक है, अंदर एक है। हाथी का दांत दिखाने को एक है, खाने को दूसरा। एलिफेंट हैज टू डिफरेंट थिंग्स। वो नहीं है, अंतर्बाह्य शुचिता चाहिए। What you demonstrate outside should be your inside. And the fourth and most important is tyaga, sacrifice. At any moment you should be ready to sacrifice. This is Hindutva. The book that I tried to present talks about whether these things can be applied to 21st century reality. Whether we can develop our political systems based on this idea, this worldview. We have a democracy. We are very proud of our democracy. There are various types of democracies. Singapore has one type of democracy, China has another type of democracy, US has another type of democracy, we are India another type of democracy. But what kind of democracy is needed in India? Two people said. Gandhiji said, I only know democracy as Ram Rajya. That was Gandhi. He said, where the weakest shall have as much power as the strongest. That was Gandhi. Deen Dayalji said, for me, democracy means rule by consensus, not the rule by majority. घर में सब मिलकर तय करते हैं ना, मिलकर तय करने का स्वभाव। इलेक्शन में कोई जीतेगा, तेलुगु संगम का इलेक्शन होगा, एक बार रेड्डी जी जीतेंगे, दूसरी बार ये जीतेंगे। Anybody can win the election, but after the election, are you together? अरे मेरे खिलाफ लड़ते हो, तुम्हारा देख लूंगा, जीवन भर चलेगा। ये होता है हमारे हाउसेस में, पार्लियामेंट में देखने को मिलता है। तो building consensus should be the way. That's what this worldview says. Like that, every institution can be built based on this worldview. My point was, yes, you can build that. And it is time we did that, because the world has come to a juncture today, crossroads today, where it also needs new ideas. Those new ideas can actually emanate from our great thinking, our worldview, if only we have patience to look at it. Our problem is, we concluded that, yeah, our religion is about Krishna Rama. Going to temple, worshipping it, that's all our religion is all about. Our dharma is that's all. Rest everything we have to learn from the West, from Europe. I'm not saying they're bad. They have their certain very brilliant ideas. You can always take them. But those ideas, many of them have been in practice here for millennia. May I conclude by saying that when this discussion happened about secularism, at the time of the making of our constitution in 1948-49, one person who very strongly opposed inserting the word secular into Indian constitution was no BJP, no RSS person, but Jawaharlal Nehru. His logic was that we are anyway secular. If we are Hindu, we are secular. Because for Hindu, all gods are equal. He respects everybody. He respects every god. He creates new gods every day. So 2-3 gods यूरोप से आ गए तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, जोड़ देंगे। 33 करोड़ में 2 जुड़ेंगे तो क्या होगा? कोई रेलगाड़ी थोड़ी भर जाएगी। So he is very liberal, very accommodative. So there is no need to specifically tell him you have to be secular. He is anyway secular. This was Nehru. So why I'm saying this is, these ideas that we think that they are all very modern ideas, they came from Europe, have had their own origin in our school of thought, in our worldview, if only we recognize. So this book is an attempt to give, to basically highlight some of those ideas. Today, the broader idea of Hinduness, Hindudom is accepted. That is what we call as Hindutva. It's no different from Hinduism. Both are same. Because I did not want to call it as Hinduism, because it's not a closed thing, I called it Hindutva, which is actually the application of it. If you want an English word, equal English word is Hinduness. To be a Hindu, or Hindudom, to know what is Hindu. That is Hindutva. Thank you.
That was a very insightful speech. You have delivered a very complex topic with a very simple logic. We're all waiting to have a hand on the book to understand more about this book. And now I would like to call upon stage founder of Global Indian International School, Mr. Atul Temurnika, to facilitate our chief guest, Ram Madhav ji. Thank you, Mr. Atul. Thank you, everyone. I would like to call upon founder president of Sri Samskruthika Kalasaradhi, Sri Ratnakumar ji, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ramu Garu. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. And I really would like to thank my Guru, Sri Sachimuthu Garu, who actually think of this event actually. And he's supposed to be here today, but unfortunately he could not make it. So I sincerely thank him for his efforts to make this event happen in Singapore. He had about this event almost 6 months ago, and he approached Ram Madhav ji to give us the opportunity to launch or release the book in Singapore. Finally it happened. So once again, I thank you, Sachimuthu ji, for giving me opportunity to release the book in Singapore. And it's my pleasure to thank Ram Madhav ji for blessing us and making it to Singapore for the discussion on the book, The Hindutva Paradigm, Integral Humanism and Quest of Non-Western Worldview. I'm able to relate to the constructive ways that Dr. Ram Madhav ji is mentioned in the book. The book dives deep into historical events and movements that have shaped the current world. The analysis and insights in the book are thought-provoking. No doubt of its takeaways to inspire everyone towards returning the Sanatana Dharma. I am confident that the generation of today and of tomorrow would learn and understand the glory of the past. The book, The Hindutva Paradigm, Integral Humanism and the Quest of Non-Western Worldview, not only provides promising insights of the future, but also throw light on the perspective and wisdom of Dr. Ram Madhav ji. I would like to take this opportunity to thank one and all on behalf of the organizing committee and myself who help us in making this event a grand successful one. I would like to thank my colleagues Ramanjanilu Chamaraj Garu, who is MC today, and Raviteja Bhagavatala, please stand up. Raviteja Garu, please. And Suresh Chivukala, Sridhar Bharadwaj Garu, and Yogesh Hinduja ji, Sanjay ji, and Bhaskar Volupalli ji. And also I would like to thank, you might have seen the AB, those who came early. It was wonderful AB who made it actually within last minute, who is none other than our Radhakrishna ji and his wife Katyayani Ganeshan ji. Thank you, Radhakrishna Garu. You are always support to us and you make us wonders always. And also I would like to thank GIIS School, especially Prabhu Ram, Mamta ji, and Dinesh ji, and many who help us in this event today. Yeah. Last but not least, I would like to thank Atul ji from the GIIS School, who give us the unconditional support to make this event a grand success. Thank you, Atul ji. You are always helpful to us, and we always remember your helping nature. Thank you once again, and one and all. And as my MC today mentioned, there are books at the counter. Please grab it before it. And I also take you at least to take the 2 or 3 copies. Whoever visit your house, I request you to pass that book to your family members or your friends. Because we are very fortunate. We grown up in a kind of environment where our grandparents and parents taught us what is a Hindutva and all. But we have to bring back this Hindutva to our children and on. So I request you all, go through the book along with your children and what Ram Madhavji's wisdom mentioned in the book. We all have to go through that. Thank you once again.